Hi, this is Siren at Siren Vocal Studio. I'm so glad you're here today. It's been a hot minute since I've done any kind of video, so welcome back. Or if you're here for the first time, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to find your vocal range. Are you prepping for an audition and they're asking you, are you a soprano or alto? Are you a tenor, baritone, or bass? What do you say? Like, ooh, who am I? Where am I? I don't know. I can sing everything. Tell me what to sing. So if you're not really sure how to find your vocal range, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So get ready. There is a written out version of this that I will link in the description box. It's on my blog, sirenvocalstudio.com/blog. So if you want to read it instead of watch the video, be my guest. But this is going to be way more fun, so don't go anywhere. So say you are debating between am I a soprano or an alto. Here's what you want to do. You want to start by warming up your voice. Do like, I don't know, 5 to 7 minutes. If you are a singer, do at least 10 minutes, I would say. And warm up your voice so that you can have full aspects of your range exposed. That's what she said. So that you can know what your full range is. Now, the ranges that I'm going to give today are not comprehensive. There are plenty of people who can sing above these notes and below these notes, but these are the average for what a typical singer would be, depending on what vocal range they are in, okay? So I want you to start finding your starting note, so to speak, where it's comfortable. This could be correlated to where you actually speak generally. Oftentimes people will speak in the lower parts of their voice naturally, kind of the way I am now. Now, if I were to alter that speaking voice and raise my pitch a little bit, then I'll be speaking in a little bit of a higher point in my voice. And then I could do that even more by speaking even higher. That doesn't sound great today because I'm getting over a cold, so pardon me. But often people are the most comfortable in the lower part of their voice, right? You'll be able to find your low note pretty easily. So if you start and you're going do, you know that you actually can talk lower than that. So go a little bit lower than that. But find your starting note on the piano. Now typically, well, okay, you don't have to have a piano. If you have a piano, that's very helpful. If you have a keyboard, that's great. If you don't have either of those things, you can look up on Google piano keyboard, blah, 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 and it'll bring up a bunch of keyboards that you can test online. And then you find your range. So oftentimes I start students at middle C. Middle C is a good place to start exercises, right? But it's not necessarily the lowest part of your range. But a typical soprano is going to be our high voice, alto is the next high voice, and then we have tenor, baritone, bass is those low people who can go so low. A lot of times there's a lot of people break these rules. Like I said, averages, okay? Stick with me. Okay, so if you find your middle note, I know that I can sing even a little bit lower than the C that I put here, but I can sing C relatively confidently, strongly. Now, if you're getting into this part of your voice and 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 this part of your voice, and it starts to kind of disappear, that is not your range. The bottom of your range should be nice and confident, nice and strong. I consider myself a soprano, even though I can hit some alto notes, but the lowest range that sopranos typically can hit is about a C, maybe a B. B right here. I think I can comfortably go to a G. Hello, my name is Siren. Like, it's pretty low. I generally try to stay away from that note, but this note feels a lot better and it's pretty good, right? It's just a step away from that G note. This is gonna be our low note for soprano. It's a C4. Now, if we're gonna go to the high end of soprano range, this is a B5. Now, obviously, there's people who can sing above that. I can sing above that. I think my actual range, I think I can go up to here. I'm not warmed up right now, so I'm not gonna give you an example. But this is the higher end of a soprano, but typically, most sopranos will be able to hit a B5. Now, if we're talking alto, obviously, altos are gonna be below sopranos. Typically, an alto will start on an F3. Sorry, I'm looking at my numbers because sometimes sometimes I go on my keyboard and I go, okay, how do I find a C5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's actually how you find like what's the difference between C5 and C4, you find the first C on the piano and you play it. That's your first C, so that's 1. Find the next C, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you're trying, and you can go higher, 6, 7. So when you're talking, oh, what is C4? That's what that means. So anyway, so alto, F3. So if I go find F3, 1, 2, 3, down here, that's very, very low. Today I can hit it. That doesn't typically happen. Whoa. So F3 up to about a D5 is gonna be your alto range, okay? Now, if you were finding your range like on a buzz, you will be able to sing higher and lower than you typically will be, because when you buzz, everything should be really, really relaxed. If you're finding tension in your voice when you are buzzing, then you're doing it wrong. A buzz should be so relaxed so that when you are doing like a scale, technically this is an arpeggio, but I call it the long scale. It'll feel pretty easy to get to. This note was a E flat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, E flat 5. But if I were gonna buzz up to this high note of my soprano note, let's see. Okay, so this note up here is what I'm calling my soprano note. Pretty easy. I could go a little higher than that. Flat 6. That's feeling pretty pinchy up there, even on a buzz, but I could hit it. I gotta hit it, but for a range, you can strongly hit it. I can confidently hit this B5. So that's good. That's good news. Okay, so for a tenor, this is gonna be our high, generally our high male singers, not typically. I do know some female people who can sing in this tenor range, and you know, it's just wherever your voice fits. So it doesn't necessarily have to be gender specific, but it just depends on what's going on with your voice. Sometimes if you have a cold, you will be able to sing lower than you typically will. So that's cool. Okay, so for a tenor, we're gonna start on a B2 on the low end. So we're gonna find our B2. B2, that's an octave lower than I can sing, which is totally great, right? It's fantastic. B2 up to a G4. That's pretty high, but I have known some tenors to be able to sing up to here, but typical tenors will be able to go to a G4. Generally speaking, there's soprano alto for our high voices, but sometimes there's something called mezzo soprano, kind of like middle voice. It doesn't quite go as high as a soprano, but it can go lower. Often in the past, I've been ranked as a mezzo, but because I've worked on my range and I can sing really high, I am considered a soprano. Sorry, I'm like tripping over my words today. So with our baritone voices, we are going to be on a G2 up to an E4. G2 sounds like this, up to E4. So it's just a little bit lower than where the tenor is able to sing, typically, right? And then our bass starts on E2, and then it goes up to a C4, which is like C4 is middle C, so to speak. Anyway, so those are kind of our ranges. Like I said, all this is listed out on my website in case you want to see it written out. One thing that I recommend, so we're determining our lowest note, then we're determining our highest note, and then we are going to record ourselves. So if you go on your phone is super, super helpful. It has this app, at least on Apple, it has this app. I'm sure there's an app like this on Android phones as well. I don't want to leave y'all out, but there's this app called Voice Memos. You can't see that. Anyway, you open up Voice Memos and you can make all sorts of recordings. Look at all those recordings I have. I have so many. But you want to record your range, and if you feel like it's a strong range from bottom to top, then you can say, okay, then you can compare it with the averages and determine your range from there. It takes a little bit of work to determine your range, but you totally can do this. You've got this. It doesn't super matter unless you're in choir and you're trying to find the most comfortable place for you to sing, because you can always expand your range. If you need help expanding your range and you want to expand your range, work with a vocal coach. like myself, I am a vocal coach and I help people to expand their range. Often people get uncomfortable because often when you go higher, it's like, wow, I don't really go up this high typically because we don't practice going there all the time. So it's important to be brave, but somebody to help you to expand that range can be really helpful. You can do it on your own, but help is always great. So one thing that I highly recommend is making sure that you stay hydrated with your voice. Taking care of your instrument is vital. Now, I have this water here. So my water here is great because it gives me some hydration on my throat itself, but it passes by and it doesn't really give a full hydration to the vocal folds. It will take about 24 hours for any water that I ingest through by drinking to get to my vocal folds to hydrate them. So it's not an instant hydration for your vocal folds, and sometimes it can be drying, which is unfortunate. So because we want to keep them nice and hydrated because then they can be more flexible. Anytime things have less water, it's going to be less flexible. A direct way that you can work on hydrating your vocal folds is doing steam inhalation. So if you boil some water on the stove and then you take it off the heat and it's like steaming, right? So you can put a towel over your head very carefully. Don't touch the water itself. It's going to be boiling hot. But if you inhale with an open mouth, that will get direct hydration onto your vocal folds immediately. Now you can also do this with a nebulizer or something called vocal mist, misting your voice. That can be helpful too. The pot boiling on the stove, that's just your cheap way to get some steam into your mouth so that it can immediately hydrate you. So that's what I recommend for hydration, as well as, drinking water is definitely important. Practicing regularly, that was a really hard word to say, I'll just say. Practicing regularly is going to help you improve not only the range that you have right now, but it will also help you expand that range. That practicing is so important. It's just like getting out and getting your cardio in, keeping up with something, making sure you brush your teeth every day. Things we do consistently are things that we are good at, that we continually put into practice in our lives. So continuing to practice is going to be something that helps you with your vocality. And then I guess this probably goes without saying, but making sure you're using proper technique is key. Now, oftentimes I will use the technique of using my voice recording app to record myself listening back. And if I hear issues, and I teach my students to listen for issues, and we talk about the specific things to listen for in order to adjust so that you can make sure you're using proper technique. If you don't know what the proper technique is, that's okay. It's not too late. There's people out there who can help you, who can coach you. YouTube has tons of coaches online who offer free advice to help you with your voice. Once you've kind of reached the threshold of like what you feel like you've gained over free videos online, you can then reach out to a vocal coach. Could be me, could be somebody else, but find somebody who knows more than you so that you can start learning from them to improve your vocal technique. So you can find a blog post of all this information on my blog. I will link it below. And if you need help with your voice, please contact me through my website, serenevocalstudio.com/contact. There's a contact form on there. And I also have this really cool thing where you can purchase basically a virtual coaching session with me. So I have this offering where you can submit a video to me through my website, and then I will critique you and give you specific things to work on for your voice, making it very individual for you. And if you want a quick, what can I do today to work on whatever song you're working on for choir or for an audition or for musical theater, whatever it is, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to give my advice and help you. And I'm excited that you're here. Thanks for joining me again. Let me know what else you want to see from me. If you have any videos you want me to react to, I'm not doing a ton of reactions, but I might do one here and there. I know that's a big thing for a lot of people. They want to hear what the experts are doing, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. And gosh, we just love to judge people, But we try to be kind. We try to be kind, absolutely, because I do really believe in the fact that everybody has a voice. Everybody can sing and has the potential to sing. And I don't really look at different skills as they're a bad singer, they're a good singer, because everybody's at a different point on their vocal journey. That sounds so like in my voice, but it's true. It's true. Everybody's at a different point, and when somebody sings for me, I can see their potential and be able to see where they can go and issues that maybe come up that we work on. And generally speaking, they just, if you practice and you put yourself into this, you can absolutely improve. So I hope to see you next time on my channel. Talk to you soon. Bye. Maybe it's the way you say